Kevin Luke was the men's basketball coach for 27 seasons from 1994 to 2021. He accumulated 471 wins, which is the most among all Division II coaches in Michigan Tech history. During his tenure, the Huskies made 10 NCAA tournament appearances, won 3 GLIAC North Division titles, and 3 GLIAC tournament titles. In addition to his basketball responsibilities, Luke served as Michigan Tech's Associate Athletic Director for the final 16 years of his tenure. He was also the head cross-country coach for the Huskies from 1987 to 93. Kevin's former All-American player, longtime assistant coach, and current head coach Josh Bittner had this to say. During games, Coach would call a timeout, and he would meet the team at half court. We couldn't even understand what he was saying, what was coming out of his mouth. But everyone knew he wanted us to get our act together. Intensity was never an issue with Luker. In practice, to prove a point that guys weren't getting on the floor quick enough, he threw a ball out and dove on it. He ended up landing on top of the ball and knocking his wind out. He had to try so hard not to show the pain. During one game on the road down at Findlay, Coach Luke turned around to the crowd behind him and joked to them about why he needs to eat so many Snickers when we aren't playing good enough. Any games in Findlay after that, I would always collect the Snickers bars that the fans had brought for Coach Luke. I was on a plane a few years ago and someone saw Michigan Tech men's basketball on my shirt and asked me if Kevin Luke was still there. He had run cross country in the 80s. I said yes, and he replied that the university is really fortunate to have kept him that long. Just the way he said it, you could feel the impact Coach had had. There are coaches, officials, score table workers, opposing fans, waitresses, the workers who bring the coffee out in hotel lobbies at 6 a.m., all over the country that have fond memories of Coach Luke. He is larger than life and has left a positive memory for people everywhere and has been a great ambassador for the university. Former All-American player Matt Cameron also shared this about Coach Luke. Coach was exactly the guy you would want your kid to play for. His teams were prepared and worked harder than anyone else. As players, we all knew that he loved us. He was intense and passionate. He would turn into a wild animal during games sometimes, but we knew he cared about us all so much that he wanted us to succeed. My freshman year at Northern Michigan, it was the very first game at the Berry Event Center. We didn't play great in the first half. At halftime, Coach was so fired up, he punched a hole in one of those rolling chalkboards that they had in the locker room. We went on to win that game. Another time, we were at Minnesota Duluth. All of our parents were there to watch us. 5 minutes into the game, he pulled the starters out and told us he had 7 other guys to put in who would do it right. I looked back and saw the parents kind of laughing. They thought it was great. You can see the impact he had on my parents as they're here tonight. My sophomore year, we were scheduled to play in Montana early in the season. We ended up stuck in Minneapolis for like 20 hours after they canceled our flight. It was starting to get tight to where we were barely going to arrive in time for the game, and we had a team meeting to decide if we would make the trip or just turn around and go home. We were all kind of on the fence, so Coach decided that we would go anyway. We arrived in Montana, but they'd lost our luggage. We ended up going to a store to buy reversible jerseys. We ironed on some numbers. The other team loaned us some shoes. I think we went to a gas station to grab some snacks. Then we went and beat the crap out of the other team we were playing. We learned from Coach that day that you don't back down. You push forward. I know there are lots of his former players here tonight, and many more who wanted to be here and couldn't. Coach Luke means a lot to a lot of us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michigan Tech Sports Hall of Famer, Kevin Luke.
Thank you, Suze. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words, Bittner. Thank you for the kind words, Cammie. Fortunately, I have to say they were all true. Curls, thanks. I'm not sure if I liked what you said about the court, but I sure as hell know it's true about the mouth-to-mouth. That's not happening. That is not happening. I did say I'd roll him off the side of the road so the grader wouldn't run over him. I'm a lucky man. Lucky to have my family here as much as that could come. And I showed up tonight, and a bunch of you guys that did not tell me you were coming showed up. It's not hard to figure out how a guy like me can make it in the Hall of Fame when you got guys like that showing up. I mean, I'm touched. You could have been with your own families back at home and doing stuff with them, and you came to be with me and my family, and I really appreciate that. I think somebody in here, and I just want to find out, somebody in this room put a congratulations sign in my yard last night. I went to, there was a bunch of flamingos and a congratulations sign in my yard. I went to bed really late last night. It was 5 after 9. And I wanted to make sure Tyler took his truck off the road. And I looked out and I said, "What's in the yard?" So I told Barbara, well, I figured they did it. And no, they swore they didn't do it. So either they're lying or I'm not really positive. So we went out there and looked at it. It was a congratulations sign. And I said, the reason why I want to know who did it was kind of a nice enjoyment for me, because normally when I had to go in the yard with other signs, it was a house for sale sign put up by my assistants. Coach, in term, I don't know why I'm catching so much heat for going to be long tonight. I'm a man of a few words. And when Cal called me to tell me that I was being inducted, he jokingly said, "You're going in as a player." And kind of like you, Jim, wouldn't be a very long speech. And I thought to myself, well, the majority of the people here wouldn't even know that I played basketball. And I thought after I saw who was going to class, I said, well, Patrick, you averaged more points per game than I did. And Marana, you ran for more yards per game than I scored points in my career. So, yet nonetheless, I was proud to be a part of a good 22-5 team when we were here. I'd like to echo Coach Curley's thoughts and words on the class of 22. Great class. Coach, I'd like to echo Wes's words about you when he said, when you arrived on campus in 2000, you made our football program a lot better. I'd like to congratulate all my classmates. I'm proud to be in that group, and thanks for your contributions to Michigan Tech athletics. You know, when I accepted his job in 1987, I never thought I'd be here for 34 years. I never thought I would be offered the head coaching position, and I never dreamed of being at this podium as a member of the Michigan Tech Sports Hall of Fame. So needless to say, I'm very humbled and honored and blessed to be inducted and nominated. I'd like to thank the committee. And if I could just take a couple minutes to talk about, in my 27 years here as a head coach, of some of our proud moments and accomplishments of a team. I'd like to pass a couple of those on. Number one, I'm tremendously proud of our graduation rate. I think of the Anar Team GPA, and I think of the four-year players, I think there was only one guy that did not graduate in those 27 years. So that's something for them to be proud of. I'm proud of our 56-6 run during the 02 and 03 seasons. In fact, 03, if I would have made the right, we lost 3 games in 03, and it was by a total of 6 points. If I had made the right calls, we'd have been undefeated. That's my fault, and I apologize. I'm proud of all the 20-win seasons. I'm proud of how hard we had to work in 2010, Bittner, to not lose 20 games. We were 9-18 that year with a very young team. Proud of all the NCAA regional appearances, of which we made quite a few semifinals, and we made a final appearance in my last year as a coach of the regional championship. Proud of the CLIAC championships. I'm proud of the CLIAC tournament championships. Cammy, you remember those 2 free throws you made in less than 10 seconds to ice that first one? That was awesome. Proud of how our athletes sacrificed all of their personal goals for our team's success. Proud of the lifelong, this one really makes me happy. I'm proud of the lifelong friendships that our players have established with each other. It's important to me in the program. I'm proud of the culture that we established as a program. I'm proud of the friendship that myself and my family have established with the players. In fact, I still get, it's fair to say, a warm heart when guys call just to check in. Awesome people. I'll always cherish these relationships, as well as the relationships that I established with all my coworkers and other coaches. And this was said earlier. To me, this whole dysfunction, every Michigan Tech thing is the big MTU family, doing it the Tech way, doing it together. And I'm going in tonight because of all of our players and coaches and a lot of people in this room. We win together, we lose together, and as far as I'm concerned, when I go in, we're all in. I'd like to thank my 4 bosses. Ted Curley hired me in 1987. He was a wealth of knowledge for all of us coaches, and as a young coach, I was afraid to make a mistake. One day down at the coffee table, he said, "Coach, you can't be afraid to take a chance." I took a lot of chances, and it worked out well for me, but I was afraid to make a mistake. But when I heard him say that, I knew I'd be okay, because I'd just blame it on him if it didn't go well. Thanks, Ted. Rick Yo gave me a chance to be a head coach in 1994. Suzanne Sandergut, I'd like to thank you. You just let me coach. Good or bad, you let me coach. And you've done a phenomenal job leading us. Congratulations. One thing I'd like to say that I didn't like about all the time that we spent together, if it's okay, can I say one bad thing? Maybe. I asked her to get the Blizzard T Husky uniform in a XXL. That's why I'm upset with her. She didn't do it. When I got kicked out of that game, I wanted to come back as Blizzard T Husky and tell that official what the hell I really thought of that horse shit call. So that's not bad. Joel Isaacson was my final boss when I took a part-time job after I retired. Joel, you're doing a fine job as second in command. Thank you. I'd like to thank all my assistants. You guys are the reason for our success. You actually made coaching fun. If I could, I'd just like to quickly name them off. Christian Wilson, John Barnes, Luke Kiss, Josh Bittner, Ray Drake, Mike Augustine, Ben Stelzer, Forrest Olson, Irv Dieterle, Terry Clement, Tom Colomb, Charlie Kempen, and Steve Nordstrom. Second to none as coaches. They could have, with the players we had, they could have done the same job I did. Love you guys. I'd like to thank all of our SIDs, Dave Fisher and Tim Naughton in particular, those guys ended up being lifelong friends. I'd like to thank the building managers, Nordy, Chris Roy. I've been in a lot of facilities. There's no facility run better or cleaner. And that goes a long way when you're in locker rooms that are, I can't say it. Thank you guys for doing a great job with that. I'd like to thank Jane and Elaine. I've struggled a little bit with computers over this time, and they had to do a lot of work for me. I know why you're smiling, Coach Curley. I was better than you. Jane did thousands of practice. She used to love it, doing all of our practice schedules. She typed every one of them. Dr. Trusock, I'd like to thank you for a lifelong service to MTU Athletics. I'd like to thank Bryant and Julie Rimpola. Brian, besides being a great friend, has worked the book for a million years. Julie, thanks for sitting with Barb all that time. I'd like to thank the following groups: all the trainers, student managers, game management, and all the alumni for both your support financially and athletically. Last group I'd like to thank is my family. First, my siblings, Jeff, Debbie, Amy, and Barb. You guys, thanks for supporting me whenever you could come to the games, and all you've done for me, and most of all, thanks for admitting I'm your brother. Love you guys. Paul, thanks for coming up. Mom and Dad, Mom, I know you're watching. You taught me to have core values. You taught me to respect others. It's kind of questionable because at times Ma didn't like the officials as much as I did. You taught me to have a strong work ethic. You taught me to pay attention to detail. You taught me if I took a job to make it better. Thank you. I love you. To my kids, Kara, my oldest, couldn't be here, work related. She gave us support from afar. She came to a lot of our downstate games. Tyler and Haley, you guys grew up in the STC gym. Tyler, just a quick thought. When I was cleaning up my desk, when I was done, I ran into a couple notes, and they were notes to players. And I won't say who they were. I don't know if you guys will remember who the guys that he wrote them to, but they were really well written. How the hell did you get C's in high school constructing something that if I'd have been able to construct those types of letters, I'd have landed 25 All-Americans. I want that answer later on why you were getting C's in high school. Hayes, I know you're really good at your craft. You could have been a coach. You don't even remember doing this, I'll bet. You asked me one time, we had lost a game, and you asked me why were our guys over-helping on defense? I'm thinking, holy shit, she's pretty good. I'm incredibly proud of both of you. I love you guys. Last but not least, Barbara. You're not allowed to cry. What are you doing? You're probably the biggest reason for my success. There's only been 2 of us in this world that have been through all 780 games, me and you. And I just was remembering when I was preparing for this, all the great feelings and emotions, and you knew when to kick my ass, and you knew when to tell me to put on my big boy pants. And I always enjoyed you telling me, you tell your team to put on their big boy pants. We got a tough game here. You knew when to stay quiet. You did an excellent job with the kids when I was gone. Just thank you for your unconditional support and love. Just thanks for being you. I love you. The last thing I want to say is, during my assistant years, I was the head cross-country coach. Can't you tell? After I got done with after I filled up the car, I drove along them and watched them run their 15 miles. I really learned a lot from those athletes. They were outstanding. And I'm really impressed with how that program has progressed. Coach Owen and Coach Young, you guys have done an outstanding job. Congratulations. Very honored to be with this group of classmates. Thank you very much.